So I've had a lot of questions about how to draw on a graph or insert shapes or insert text whenever dealing with Microsoft Word. So I wanted to take a moment and kind of show everyone how to do that in case they were still having issues. So what I'm using as an example is a lab that is from 8th grade physical science, but this is for anyone in any class that has to do any kind of graphing or any kind of plotting on a chart because it's going to apply to any of you. Okay, so the first thing that this lab has you do is to create your horizontal and vertical axes so that you can plot your data. So the way that you do that is you're going to insert some shapes and you're going to choose your arrow. And the way that it works is you just literally click it and drop it on the place that you want it. If you press the shift button whenever you do this, it automatically makes the line straight. Now just to make it show up a little bit better, I am going to get mine. I'm going to click this little formatting tab and I'm going to make it thick so that everyone can see it really easily. And then there's two things you can do. You can either draw another arrow or you can just copy and paste the arrow and then use this little green tab to make it straight. And again, you press the shift button on this one, it's going to make it go up, straight and down, straight up and down, but you don't want to do that. You want to make it horizontal, right? So we just match it up to the other arrow, and now we have a one quadrant area to plot. So we have to figure out how are we going to number the side, our y-axis, in order to be able to get the majority of the points that are in this data table. But we're going to, just for the sake of making it easy, we're going to go through and we're going to do them in increments of 100. So if you were doing the step-by-step in the lab, then it would tell you actually. So before you actually go through and start entering your data points, you have to label your X and Y axis, and you also have to label what you are plotting, which is going to be temperature, and that's going to be in degrees Kelvin, and then it's also going to be your atomic number. So we're going to do that really quickly by inserting a text box. You see how this pushed everything else out of the way? We don't want it to push everything else out of the way. We want it to just lay over on top of everything else. So what you're going to do is you're going to click this. The easiest way is to click wrap text, because what this is going to say is that everything else around it's going to wrap around it, and you want it to be in front of the text. So you see how this made it where everything else is behind it and it's in front. Okay, and so I'm going to make this one, it's going to be labeled temperature in Kelvin, and I'm going to resize it, and then I just want to make it on the right side. It goes over here. Perfect. All right, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to copy and paste it. And then I'm going to name this one atomic number. Okay, so now we can kind of go through and start doing these. The first thing that you have to do is you have to label your graph or your chart. And so you want to go in and you can insert little boxes and label them according to what number they are. So you insert a shape and you click a box, and then you just click the add text button and you press 1. And that is your first one. Now what I like to do is I like to make the font really tiny because it makes it easier. You can fit more. You don't want it so tiny where you can't read it. So just make it nice and small, and then that's for our element atomic number 1, which is hydrogen. And then we're going to do our sides, which the easiest way to do this is just to Control C, which is copy, and then paste the shape to the side. That way you're not having to constantly draw boxes and add text, okay? And so it tells you, in this lab it told us to label them in 100 increments. So I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to just control, and I'm going to keep pasting them and dragging them up just to number them that way to make it easier, okay? So now that you have got some points done, because our numbers are relatively small, let's do this boiling point for hydrogen, which is 20.28. Well, I'm going to zoom in so that I can kind of see things a little bit closer. Hydrogen is going to be on this 1. We said that boiling point is going to be in red, so we go to Insert, Shapes. We want to do a little circle, and we're going to draw a little circle around where the 20 would be, which is going to be pretty close down to the bottom, right? But we want to make it red, so we go to the paint color, the fill, and we make it red, and we make it red, and then we make it as small as we can make it, and we plot it around where a 20 would be, which is going to be more than halfway down. You can use the arrows to move it just little bits, and that would be our boiling point. If you want, you can zoom in even more to make it more accurate. You can get pretty close up with these things. And we'll make a blue one. You do each one, and then you go back and you connect them using the line tool by clicking Insert Shapes and using the line tool. And you're just going to make that line in whatever color that you're using. So like you'd go through, be like, okay, all the lines are going to be blue to match the blue, and connect them that way. Hopefully this helps you guys out.